Well, hello everyone. Welcome into Flying with Mike. Sorry for that pregnant pause, but welcome in. Thank you for being a part of Flying with Mike today. Right now, we're scheduled for London Heathrow over to, hang on a second, getting a screen set up that I always have to wait till here to do. There we go. All right, much better. All right, so yeah, we're going from London Heathrow over to Frankfurt. A big whopping, what did it come in at? 300 miles? 416 miles. And we're going to do it in just over an hour, which took the our bombers and such a lot longer than that to fly. But then again, they weren't flying straight line. That'd be too easy to be picked off, even though it was pretty easy to pick them off anyway. That's the bad part about World War II. But anyway, that was then. Today, we're flying the Queen. 747-200 for Pan Am Virtual over to Frankfurt. Then we'll reassess and go from there. We're also going to try, and I'm going to say it kind of sheepishly, do not take offense, to fly online with FATSIM. I'm not even, we've already come up once and dropped just to see how bad frame rates were. There's a lot of, if you're not familiar, folks, think about it this way. When are most people home from work? Well, over in Europe, this would be that time. Hence why there's just one, so many airplanes in the sky in Europe, two, so many controllers controlling in Europe. Just like in the US in about 3 to 4 to 5 hours, the same happens here. We're all getting home, we're all doing our thing, and we get on, we fly, we control, we do what we do online. So the same thing happens here. Now, the problem is, in the US, we're 3,000 miles coast to coast. In Europe, it's nowhere like that. You have some of the biggest airports in the world. Don't get me wrong, the US does, but they're a much bigger spread usually between them, except for the Northeast corridor. They're kind of bunched together, and it gets rough on my frame rates. I'm not gonna lie. So, but over here in Europe, it's like the Northeast corridor from Manchester. Actually, you could probably say from Dublin to Manchester, down to London, Amsterdam, Belgium. I mean, name it, folks. They're all right there. So there's so much congestion. And that's where we run into troubles. If you all remember, we flew from Ramstein to Cyprus, and we could not stay on VATSIM because we kept dropping below the 20 frame rate rule. And I respectfully disconnected because let me rephrase, stayed disconnected because that's not fair to you all to have someone going up, going down, going up, going down, and interrupting everything. It happened once to me up in Copenhagen, and that was just so disrespectful that that pilot would just, either he was intentionally doing it or just was just flat out for himself. The heck with everyone else. And it put a big delay on that event. Hence why I a lot of times am not up there anymore. It's just that's the problem here in Europe. I love flying over here. I love flying on VATSIM, but it's just so many people, many of them out, well, like most people in the world, for themselves. It's my experience. So, and I fall into that trap too. Don't think I'm holding myself out. I fall into that trap too. So that's why we may not come online. Right now, it actually looks possibly doable, with the exception that Frankfurt is up with a lot of stuff. And that's not why I'm holding out. I actually like London's controllers. They really do a good job for the traffic they have. I think they need to bring more people on, but you're not paid to. So that's pretty tough to get volunteers to come up that may want to fly. So, all right, enough of me. Let's let the Queen do some talking, shall we? But first, let's bring in Sim Toolkit. Oh, and one other thing, neat thing. London is one of those airports that X-Plane told us they had both jetways in operations, and there they are, hooked up to the plane. Granted, off a little bit, but hey, not bad. Doors are sticking out, but that's okay. Well, the fact that they're there, hey, it's a win. That's good. Now, someone said, why not that third one? That one gets a little tricky because one of them has to go over the wing. So, and believe it or not, they do it in a lot of airports. I would love to see how that works. If they shoot it out, bring it over, how they do it. I think they run out of jetway here, though. Yeah, they probably would, looking at it. But yeah, they actually do that at some airports. Or the A380, of course, is what people think it was built for. No, these were actually in operation long before the A380 even hit the drawing boards. So long before it. Matter of fact, this airline right here had some unique ways at JFK of loading the airplane. If you can find some vintage photos on Google, you'll be amazed at some of the stuff they did. Like pulling in and loading both sides. So, all right. So, anyway, there she is, the Clipper Belle of the Sky. Let's see what we got planned for her today, shall we? All right. First thing, no, center, last I checked, is not up over London. They've actually they have actually been pretty smart with how they do things in London now. They actually do have it broke into sectors. Jacksonville tried that, and I think they still try. And for the love of God, you can never figure out which one's which. At least here, they give you a chance to understand it. Hang on a second. Let me, west. And then up here, it'll say, I forget exactly what it says in the Manchester area, up here in Scotland, and so forth. They help you. Jacksonville is never mind. And that's why I think it's kind of a very flawed system. But as you can see now, we are going to pick up center in Belgium, Germany. That was a given to be coming. Usually at about this time, German radar comes up. And there is one busy airport. Let's be real, folks. 42 aircraft either on the ground, getting ready to depart, or inbound, or just landed, let alone everything else in the sky for it. Yeah. So, all right, so we'll kind of keep our eyes out on this and see how things progress. But anyway, let's get into the brief, shall we? Okay, the payload out of here is 62,000. Let's just take what I'm about to say with a lot of grains of salt. You'll see what I mean here in a minute. The payload is 62,048 pounds. Block fuel, 53,675 pounds. Please take all of that and the zero fuel weight of 448. Grain of salt. 277 people. Yeah, they did load. But you'll see the difference here. The game plan is 9 right out of Heathrow, 7 left. No, I don't know if I'll do that one. Let's see here. Asen1, welcome in. Thank you for the follow. We sure appreciate you coming in, giving us that follow. We hope what will be your en route time. En route time today, 1 hour, 2 minutes. That's what SimBrief says. What it will actually be, we'll find out. All right, and you can see the route quite long for just a 500-mile run. Mach 80.85 is what we're going to be. Boy, wouldn't that be great? Mach 85. Ooh, man, Blink and I were there. Actually, I don't even think we could get a blink in. I think we'd already be there. That's faster than Beam Me Up, Scotty. And flight level 370 is where we're headed for. All right, so I'm still up in the air, folks, if we're going to tackle this on VATSIM or not, but we'll see. Again, winds a 090 at 9, so yes, 9 right, perfect runway. They flip-flop 12-hour cycles, I think it is, at Heathrow, so we're in the south side's departure, north side's arrivals. An interesting way to do it. I mean, there's, 500,000 different ways to do it, I'm sure. Over in good old Frankfurt, 140 at 5 for the winds. Clear visibility, okay. Hey, we'll take that. By the way, they don't have enough time in London to stick their head out the window. They couldn't determine if there was a sky or not. Just kidding. No sky, no clouds determined. Whatever, that's their way of saying we didn't have time to go outside and look up. Again, clear visibility okay in Frankfurt's 15 degrees Celsius, and for those of us here in the States, that's almost 60 degrees. That's same over in London, so not much change in weather. We also have, since we do have online VATSIM presence there, runways 7 center and 18 in use. Departing 18. And I'm just seeing if there's anything else. The big thing I look for, transition level 6,000. In case I don't fly on it, I at least have it if we fly a different way. And winds 120 at 6, they're variable. Okay. Now, if VATSIM had controllers up and running in London, we would see an ATIS if they provided one. Sometimes they'll provide one and it'll be blank. I really hate when controllers are lazy and don't give us that. I can get it, you don't do it for all your airports in your center, but for real, London or these bigger airports, really? Come on. All right, so there you have it, the pre-brief, which will lead us right into, let's load this plane. Let's first, okay, now with Felis, you don't load the plane with the load calculator, okay? It is exactly what it says, calculate. You load it with refuel and payload. I am not willing to try the insta-load, nor have I loaded the latest greatest, 1.7.6, I think it is, something like that. This brake thing with X-Plane 12, I need to get more clarification before I come off older styles. So, and they have updated it. The notes state that, and I don't know what's going from there. All right, so how do you do this? Well, obviously I filled in all the blanks. We're going 500 miles. It will not let you, it's in 50-mile increments, 3-7, tailwind, headwind. You have to think of what it means. If you have a tailwind, think of it this way. It's pushing you. So the engines aren't going to have to work as hard because the wind is helping to push you. Conversely, if you're going into a headwind, and you have to look at it on your sim brief initial notes. Let me see if I can bring that in here. Kind of make a little more sense. View flight plan. Okay, so you got to kind of first visualize, okay, the way you're flying. We're going from London easterly to Frankfurt. Okay, so if we have anything from, say, 350, because remember, the winds are reported what they're out of, from 350 down to, say, 180, it's a good chance it's a tailwind. You're going to learn about that big time tomorrow, those of you across the pond. So you can look at the average wind here, 316. So it's blowing generally from the west going to the east at 26 knots. Now this component here can also kind of help you, plus P, and if it says M, minus. So if, let's just say we reverse the flight, we're going from Frankfurt to London. Now we're going into that wind. And thankfully they're this low. Hopefully tomorrow they're this low for you guys and gals. Because the North Atlantic can be, oh, so fun when you have 100-knot headwind. So you're going to have to give it a little bit more juice to get through those headwinds. So that's how you think of that page. All right, let me pull that down. So with a 316, we know that the wind is going to be on the tail pushing us. So our fuel with this zeroed, here I'll take it down to 0, should be lower. Let's make sure. Yeah, see how it's going down from 62 to 61. Now, albeit not by much because it's only a 26-knot wind, but a 1 in front of that, these numbers could change significantly, as is your flight time. Be quicker. Hence, you went from the Western Hemisphere to the Eastern Hemisphere last time across the pond. Don't think those times will hold up going the other way like you are tomorrow. You had a predominant tailwind, and that will help get you there a lot earlier. Most flights going to Europe from the US get there early because of that. Coming back, they try to pad them, but sometimes the winds are just too much and you end up late. So just giving you some get ready. Right now, looking at this doesn't look bad. However, I don't know what it's going to be like from, say, Ireland across. And usually over the North Atlantic, it's pretty brisk winds. So hopefully, hopefully things are good for y'all. And of course, it's going to be a fun time and enjoy it. There's a lot of people going to be online tomorrow, folks. So I forget the kickoff time. So, all right. So you can see our breakdown. We have our 277 peeps, like we said. Now the payload ended up somewhere in the neighborhood of 30,000 pounds more, and that's because I threw a lot more cargo at it. Okay. One thing I do know about these flights is a lot of the money, while they made a lot right here in the cabin, a lot of that ended up being the profit for the flight. They made more money on the cargo beneath the people. Today it's not as prevalent. So that is our breakdown for this flight. So 277 people, we have now a 91,000, nearly 30,000 pounds more. Zero fuel weight, up at exactly the same amount. So you can kind of get a feel, yeah, the weight of the fuel is even up because there's more weight. Again, nothing loads here. Now, if you want to see a better breakdown, might make more sense to you. 30,200 pounds is underneath the plane, 60,900 in the seats. So, and again, we're just going from London to Frankfurt. And it even tells you your stave trim, all of that right now. I mean, it's cool. So now let's bounce back. Whoop, I didn't mean I wanted that one. Okay, so now let's begin putting this airplane together. Always click Use Load Datasheet first. Now, I'm just going to instantly refuel the plane because it's going to take a while. Payload 277. Use datasheet. There's the people to board, cargo to board. You can again board or instaboard. Up to you. We're going to do it the old-fashioned way. Wait for them to come on. All right, and with that, that gets us going on what we need to do. We got a lot of things to do in a short amount of time, so let's get going. And if I don't say much, try to follow along. Basically, I'm going to go from left to right, each section, kind of sort it. You'll see what I mean. All right, so let's get into it. Galley powers are coming on. And if it says test, test it. And along the way, I will give you a few tips I use. You may not have to, but I have to. This being one of them. To be able to check your fire bottle, your fire warning system on the main engines, I move the eye point back to the circuit board, turn it towards the overhead panel, and then hit it. All four. And all four. Perfect. And then one more. Okay, that's going to be that. Okay, then I just reset and continue on. Okay, push the test button. Basically testing the brake sensors, making sure they're getting the electricity to let you know you got a hot brake. Okay, and then you panel lights right here. All right, let's check all the bulbs. Okay, and that pretty much takes care of the flight engineer. Now we'll head up here. I'm going to first click these into nav. All right, we're just going to Boeing style down each side. Okay, everything's closed, looks good. Brake off. Anti-skids on. Body gear steering armed. Everything nav. Okay. Um, okay, and by the way, your high frequency radios are not operable in the flight sim. You don't have to turn them on. I just do in case one day they do come to life. I hope they never do. And I can hear people, why? That would be so real. Okay, you listen to it for 12 hours. All right, now we get to the fun one, the main panels here. All right, first thing, try to find an ILS for the airport you're at. And what we're going to be doing is, and I'm pulling one up right now. All right. Okay, so the ILS for 9 right is 109.5. Do not have to worry about any course or anything like that. Okay, reason being, first thing, set your panel lights, baro INS switch, or radio INS should be on radio. It's this next switch we're going to check on both sides, up, left, down, right, VOR. What you're going to watch for is your primary display here, horizontal, and your HSI. So your make sure that they're moving the proper way. So now think about it, where it's saying, you know what, let me try something. Okay, so it's up, left, down, right. So what that means is we're going to see the localizer go left, which it already is deflected, and where you see GS, it's going to show the needle up or down, depending on what we're checking. Up, left. You saw the needle on the HSI move. That's cool. Now the needle here on the horizontal or the uh, horizontal indications will move as well. Okay, I forgot to watch for the needles. You got to give it a couple seconds. The GS flags will go away and show you. Okay, now check your flight director. Yeah, that's good. Make sure everything's off auto throttle wise. Your autopilot's off. Again, you can set your initial course if you want, or you can come back. Your lateral inputs are on heading. Vertical speed is on the big line, which is 0. I will probably say this many times. I wish a lot of aircraft it looked like this. It's very easy to set your vertical speed on there if you have to. All right, your altitude select's fine where it's at. Just make sure the lights that it's in the off position, as is the vertical indication off. Another flight director for the co-pilot side. Up left. Down right, good. All right, oh, gotta come off, there we go. And get it off the frequency. Actually, we'll go 113.6 for now. That's right here in London. Okay. And just not any checks needed. It's just might as well while I'm at it. Radio INS, good. Okay, now hang on. Get rid of these guys. Okay. It's a lot easier to do the checks. And then over here, set your lighting to your preference. All right, let's start into this, shall we? We'll start again from the left going right. So just make sure your times are good. By the way, we have adjusted time. It's not today's real time. Actually, it's right now my time, but it's not real world. All right, test. I have to look because I can't remember. Okay, and clear. Coming across, let's get it. We can set our altimeter now, which we saw as, hang on, 1021. Okay, and airfield is 83 feet, and we're showing pretty close. All right, now we'll do the check above real quick. Push to test 1, PTT2, get our ILS marker check. Radar altimeter. This is a cool gauge. This actually, where this tells you how high above sea level you are, this gauge tells you how high above the ground right below you. So, very good gauge for your approaches. The bold usually refers to this gauge when we're talking decision altitudes and heights. This gauge is the parenthesis. So, and happens to be METAR too. So when you get a cloud layer, it's by above ground. So believe me, if it was 200-foot MSL in Bogota, that's way below the ground, way below. It's 8,000 feet MSL for Bogota. Hence why the clouds are above ground. But the test will only really work here. You'll only get the audible captain side. And you got to push the right button, Captain. Hang on. Might as well set it since I started. Got to push test. I did not hear anything. Okay, let's try something. There, no, can't set it. So that tone will only sound on this gauge. When you do it on the co-pilot side, you will not hear it. And it's not because I said it. You'll hear it in a minute. I'm leaving it as 0. They both move. Okay, indication warnings. Oops, hang on. It's on both, so hang on. Good and good. Okay, clear and clear. Okay, looks good. Reset. All right, now remember we talked about the altitude. Well, you're about to hear something and wonder. Your altitude alert. Okay, and again, now, of course, the next test you just never hear on this stream. It will never sound. Shame on you, Pinocchio.
Glide slope. Pull up. Glide slope. Glide slope.
Yeah, I'm pushing my nose in right now. Pinocchio here. Yeah, we hear that a lot. Rudder ratio, good. And now we just do what we did over on the left side to the right side. So push to test 1. Airspeed looks good. Testing, testing. Looks good. Clear, clear. And then you can see the altimeter set for us and no audible. But there's the ILS markers. Everything looks good as we work our way back. Gear lever down. 1 green light. Oh, would that be annoying? 5 green lights. And especially, well, GE, Sylvania, or Philips would be super happy. All of those light bulbs. Problem is, when those light bulbs don't come on, a lot of times you're going to, well, I don't know the civilian world. The military world's automatic in-flight emergency. Even though they could pull a light bulb out, put it in, now they know in their heart and mind it should be down and locked. Fire trucks are going to be waiting just on that outside chance they may not be, or that gear may not be. Got an altimeter here to set. 3015. There we go. Interesting how this one's off a little. Interesting. Okay, and we'll finish it off. All right. An interesting gizmo here. Now, most of you go, that's just a display screen. It's a CRT, which means the tubes need to be turned on and warmed up before use. Now, granted, it should be ready to go, but that gives the full startup procedure time to warm everything up so you can see the weather. And we'll get to the center console in a minute, and I just like to check that. All right. Next up, trim, we'll worry about spoilers show down, flaps show up, and the gauges are right by the landing gear lever. Flap, flap, inboard, outboard, and it's not one side or the other. It's actually flaps on the inboard part of the wing, on the outboard part of the wing. And they're showing 0, 0 as well. Start levers are cut off, parking brake is set, and takeoff warning says we're not ready for takeoff. Something is not set. Okay, moving down, radios are currently set. However, if we come online, subject to change because you never know. And then our aileron rudder trims are fine. Okay, lastly, I want to do our flight plan. Before you say, why don't you use the great INS from Felis? Felis probably does have a great INS system or two. Their two systems. I had a lot of problems a long time ago, not with Felis. I mean, we're talking back a century of flight and early FSX days. You bought this pay. It's the same kind of deal. You buy this SIVA Carousel INS, same as you would for the FJS 727. You installed it, which I installed properly. Believe me, between me and the maker, we checked that many a times, and it was in there properly. But we ended up with an error. This would have probably been a couple of months of just fun run. Don't get me wrong, INS running is fun. It's very time consuming because you can only put 9 fixes in. Now, on a short flight like this, yeah, you might have to put them in twice. And going longer flights like, say, London to New Delhi, you may have, there's like 30, 40 fixes between here and there. Now, granted, you try to work it to where you don't have to put in as much, but you still have to. And then, God forbid, oh, I heard this on the radio too many times at the airport I worked. Stand by for a complete reroute. Dump the INS because now you got whole new fixes to put in. So, great tool. We have fun with it. Reality, it had its downsides. So, we use the FMS just so I don't ever go through that again. I think Felis has probably one of the best products out there. Tolus with them. Of course, nobody can beat Zebo because it's free and it's just out of this world what it gives you. Beyond, in my opinion, PMDG. That's for another stream. But we're going to use the default. I don't like this one as much, but it's what X-Plane gives us, and it does the job. So, all right, so let's click Route Menu, Company Route. We are in EGLL EDDF01. Click it. There we go, 9 right. All right, if you don't mind, I'm going to bring up charts real quick. All right. Here's 9 right. We're not using the ILS, however. Here's the METAR. 26 minutes old, 080 at 10. No sky conditions because they haven't stuck their head outside. I don't know. Maybe it's foggy there. It would say that, you would hope. But anyway, no, we're not going to tease them too much. 080 at 10. So we do know 9 right is our runway. Cool. Now, for our departure, it is the, what do they call this? Okay, they don't have a name for it. Det 1 Joliet. Now, the difference would be if we were on 9 left, then it would be 1 kilo. So that's the difference delineations here. All right, so we're going to come off, turn 120. Is that on? London 120 to 34 from DET, and then we'll fly straight to DET. 6,000 is usually the maximum we're allowed to climb. In this case, it looks like quite a ways before we're cleared out. So we'll again take it with a grain of salt. I'm just taking a look real quick. Yeah, it's really filled in. I knew it would. Okay, flight number, we'll put in PAA98. Execute. All right, let's do this. Departure, 9 right. DET 1 Juliet, correct. I want to make sure. So there's our 130 to 34, all the way to DET. Okay, perfect. Now, if you want, we can track it across. So next up, we should see DVR KONAN, Coke, Ferdy, Boopel, Rimba. Yeah, I know it's, you can barely read it, but there it is coming up. Spy, Pessoff, and here we go. Tobop, NIVNU, Kolza, IMCO, and that's where we start in on our arrival. Remember, they're putting us into 7 left. Let's look at the airport so you all get a bearing on where that is. Yeah, not the most conducive runway for anything, but they needed the 3rd runway. So personally, I think 1.8 over here would have been better. But again, I don't know what kind of land restrictions they have over there. Makes it kind of difficult. All right. Because we're going to be parking right about here. My hope is, let's take a look. 7 left, 7 right. So we'll be coming in here, scooting off probably, what's that, M15, M9, something like that, or M13. So we'll kind of see how this works out. All right, so once again, departure, arrival. Now the other thing we haven't determined, what approach? Oh, my bad, cancel flight. Now I jumped the gun. We're going to 7 right. Probably the same approach. That's really, yeah, same approach. So we're just going to tag that in. So here's what we're going to be doing. We're going to come in the IMCO 1 Delta from IMCOM right here. So we're going to fly the little racetrack. And then right here at DF 444, come around for DF 654 and fly the ILS into the airport. And if you notice down below, it put in our 7 right and our Cat 2, Cat 3 ILS capabilities. Over here now. Whoop, back up. ILS 7 center, 7 right. Click on it. 5-4. And IMCO 1 Delta. Execute. Now, I am going to get here real quick, and I want to check this. So IMCO, actually, let's do it with the actual chart. Elvish, MGod, and Raybob. DF 431, 32, 39, 41, 42, 43, 44, perfect. Head over to the ILS, 54, 53, 52, is that 70? 70, 60, and then in for the runway. Cool. Hold for this will be, in case we go miss, 675, 278, Okay. Out to FKS and hold. Perfect. All right, wait a minute. I think I had an execute somewhere. Okay, I guess not. I hope not. Okay. We'll go 6,000 on the transition. Next page. 37000. All right, and that gets us all set, ready to go with the plane. Deplane. All right. Over here, 14 crew members are aboard, 277 passengers, 30,000 pounds of cargo. Cool thing about this plane, when the cargo's finished loading, it closes the doors. Since we've already fueled, let's get over here and check. 61,000. Uh-oh, I feel like we're low. Go back. Go back. When in doubt, check your calculator. 61.1. Okay. Excuse me. Everything looks good. All right, so what we're going to do, you got it. Crank up the APU. Waiting for APU door. Here comes the APU. When the RPM, I believe, hits 100%, we're good to go. Now, if you wanted to check your amperage and voltage on your APU, I know you can't see this, but right down from galley controls, stay in that through DC meters, keep going. You're going to see two circular gauges. Right below them is your AC meters, and you can actually check what your APU is putting out. Oh, you got to do something first. Hang on. Got to close the top half. Now we know. Okay, we're looking good. 115 volts and 400 hertz. So we're looking good on that one. And APU 2. Perfect. Close them. All right. Auto. And we are now running on internal power. All right. So we can come over here, go to ground.
Cockpit to ground. Disconnect ground power.
And let's turn the bleed on.
Ground power disconnected.
All right, and we are ready to go. 29. Ooh, let's see how bad it looks. Well, we don't know. We're not online. So we're going to go check. All right, so Heathrow Tower and ground are on, and they're starting to get these aircraft out of here. Why people wait, I have no idea. They have free time I wish I had. So we're going to stay offline. It's just too chaotic out there right now. So we'll give it a couple of minutes here and we're going to get ready to go. Good time for you to get ready, tank up. We're going to start with the checklist just to make sure we didn't miss anything.
Before start checklist.
And then we're pushing back.
Gear lever and lights. Down and check. Brakes. Parked. Start levers. Off. Radios. On and check. Flight control hydraulic power. On. INS. Check and nav. Compasses. Slaved. Window heat. On. Seatbelts and no smoking. On. Emergency lights. Armed. Exterior lights. Check. Flight instruments. Check. Altimeters and clocks. 1, 0, 2, 1. Set and cross check. Radio INS switches. Radio. Radar and transponder. Standby. Indicator lights. Check. Engine and wing anti-ice. Off. Stall warning. Check. Mach airspeed warning. Check. Auto brakes. Check and off. Body gear steering. Arm. Anti-skid. On. Autopilot and flight director. Check and off. Takeoff warning. Check. Auto flight enunciators. Check. GPWS. Check. Instrument warning. Check. Flight director computer selectors. Check. Instrument source selectors. Normal. Reserve brake valve. Closed. Spoilers. Down. Static selectors. Normal. Oxygen mask and regulator. Check and emergency off.
Okay, before I click start again, let's look. Okay, our hydraulic pressure is right to the right of the landing gear lever. You see it's in the red. Let's come over here to the overhead. Electric pump on. It's going to charge up. We'll come back and now we're good. Start.
Brake pressure. Check. Stabilizer trim. Check and on. Rudder and aileron trim. Check. Checklist completed.
Battery. On. APU panel. Check. Auxiliary power. Check. Engine oil quantity. Check. Fuel quantity. 61010 pounds. Fuel panel. Wait.
Okay. The reason we wait, they want the fuel pumps on now. And the reason this pump above number 2 was down and still not lit was because it's running automatically off for the APU. We have just...
And set. Pressurization controls. Check and set. Bleed controls. This. Check and set. This. Hydraulic quantity. Check. EPR computer. Wait. Go around. Circuit breakers. Check. Indicator lights. Check. Electrical panel. Check and set. Air conditioning controls. Check and set. Fire control and wing overheat panels. Check and set. Equipment cooling. Check. Passenger oxygen. Check. Hydraulic panel. Check and set. Fuel jettison panel. Check. Crew oxygen. On. Oxygen mask and regulator. Check and emergency off.
ADPs or your air, I forget what, automatic, they're your hydraulic pumps. And that is this middle row here, and they're all off. And yes, I can start it right here and finish it.
Off. Checklist completed.
Next is after start. So there you go. That I have actually come into problems where, surprise, I forgot something. So I, take the extra time. I know it's pretty boring, but it is important. 282. 102. Well, moved the wrong one. Okay. Last thing we need to do over here. Our performance. Yes, this is what's going to set it up. Let's see here. For Heathrow, we're on a 12,000 foot runway. Load sheet. All right, airport elevation shows 83. So it's in 100. So we'll go to 100. Runway 090. I don't think there's a slope. Nope. We're dry and we're at 15. No, oh, that's right. It's nighttime now. So yeah, it's dropping and 30, 15. K100. Whoop. 10. All right, and that, make sure, this is our V speed. So 121 for V1, rotate it 128, engine out climb 146, and our flap schedule, we're going to go flaps 10. Should require about 6,500 feet, so about half of the runway. I beg to differ, but we'll see. And then we'll come back, make sure the speed bugs are set up. We're ready to go. Let's close up those doors. Call for pushback.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is your captain speaking. On behalf of the entire crew, welcome aboard the Boeing 747 Classic. We will depart shortly after we have our clearance and the cabin crew is finished with their preparations. For now, I wish you a pleasant flight, and I will be back during the flight with further flight information.
Okay, neat little things they have. All right, let's go fly. The 747-200 can be complicated there, Aronson, but the checklists really do help. That's why I'm a big fan of running them every flight. I sometimes miss things, and it catches me eventually. So, but it is complicated, but it's not. You do it enough, you get that memory, muscle memory going, it works. As long as you fly one plane, piece of cake. When you fly multiple planes like I do, from Airbus to McDonnell Douglas to Piper to Boeing, 737s and 767s, yeah, it gets to be a challenge to remember everything. So, all right, let's one last thing here. Okay, calling better pushback.
Ground to cockpit. Please show me where you want to go.
Don't have to be so snippy about it.
Ground to cockpit. Tow is driving up.
Now, I actually have it set to be right in front of the plane. So, let me do a quick looks over here. All right, brakes are...
Okay, all doors and hatches are closed. Ready to
Cockpit to
connect.
ground. Remove the chocks. Chocks removed. Cabin crew, arm slides.
Tow connected and bypass pin inserted. Release parking brake.
All doors are closed and armed. Ladies and gentlemen, this is your chief flight attendant, and on behalf of our captain,
This aircraft has the ability to turn up and down the volumes, not only of the flight attendant, but ATC as well, as many aircraft in X-Plane 12 are. He called for us to push. Brakes off.
Parking brake released.
Starting pushback, and you may start engines.
Ready to start the engines. Ready for engine start.
All right, let's start them up.
Starting engine 3. Start valve open.
Okay, now if you wanted to, you could watch the N2 buildup over here on the flight engineer. He'll tell you though when it's at 20%.
20% and 2. Fuel on. Light up. Starter off.
All right, so one more thing we're waiting to hear. That's it. By chance, if you didn't, the bad thing is, yeah, you're going to have to redo it because you're going to have to restart the sim. Make sure to start in X-Plane 12. They've made it pretty easy now to find out if you've missed it. But nonetheless, if it does happen, that's what happened.
20% and 2. Fuel on. Light up.
Operation complete. Set parking brake.
Parking brake set.
Disconnecting tow. Stand by.
Fuel on.
Oh, that was a hot start. I didn't notice that the fuel valve went down. Till I looked up here and went, why? Why are my gauges not up?
Engine stabilized.
All right, we're going to go ahead to 1.
Starting engine 1. Startervalve open. Starting engine 2. Startervalve open.
Tow is disconnected and bypass pin has been removed. Hand signal on the right. We'll see you next
Fuel
time
on.
and have a safe flight.
Light up. 20% and 2. Fuel on. Fuel on. Light up. Starter off. Engine stabilized. Starter off. Engine stabilized.
Okay, all 4 engines are up and running. Okay, let's gens. Auto.
After start checklist. Flight recorder. On. Start switches. Off. Beacon lights. On. Brake pressure. Check. Start levers. Idle detent. Engine NDIs. Off. Electrical panel. Check. Pack valves. Open. Dual warning lights. Out. Hydraulic panel. Check. Flight recorder. On. After start checklist completed. Flaps 10.
Okay, I think I have everything. Okay, probe heat, flight control, yaw damper, fuel heat off. Aft cargo heat. Let's see. I think we're good for taxi.
Please.
Flaps. Flaps 10.
Flaps 10.
Takeoff data. EPR and airspeed bugs.
Yeah, they're set.
Stabilizer trim.
Set in green band.
Probe heat.
On.
Flight controls.
Check.
Yaw dampers.
Check.
Seatbelt and shoulder harness.
Check.
APU. Off. Fuel heat. Off. Totalizer and gross weight. Set. Flight engineer and pilot panels. Check. Aft cargo heat. Normal. Seatbelt and shoulder harness. Check. Taxi checklist completed.
Okay, let's get down to the runway.
Parking brake release.
Granted, we don't have any traffic to deal with, so
Cabin ready.
we'll just kind of make our way down there. Oh my. Oh, that's right. Today's Frankfurt Friday. That's why it's so overloaded in Frankfurt. I forgot all about that today. And we will definitely stay offline to be safe. Oh, I forgot all about that today. All right. Well, then this would have been a good one. Ah, dang it. Too late. I was going to say this would have been a good one then to do the XP12 ATC on, but I'll hold off for another day. Ugh. Excuse me, folks. All right, let's start in on the before takeoff, and we'll just hold where we need to.
Before takeoff checklist.
Icing considerations.
Check.
Cabin alert.
Check.
Transponder.
Check.
Ignition.
Flight start.
Body gear steering.
Damn.
All right, we'll get that down here at the end. But there's not much after it, as you can tell. Pack valves will turn off, fuel pump on. We're all set. Everything else is set and ready to go. We just need what the body gear steering is. Okay, I want you to look at the mains back there. See how they pivot? And that's what they're supposed to do. It helps you with your turns, doesn't eat up the tires as much. So it's a really good tool. It helps because if you don't have these elongated turns here, you're turning really tight. So they'll help cut that radius down a little bit.
Cabin crew, take your seats.
See if we can give you a really good demonstration here. Heathrow, of course, is never going to be a good demo area for this. See how they're pivoting? It's all to help with getting around the corners. All right, we're ready to go. Roger, clear for takeoff. 9 right, Clipper, 98 heavy.
Disarm.
Back valves. Wait. Closed. Pressurization mode selector. Auto. Fuel boost pumps. On. Cross feed valves. Check. Before takeoff checklist completed.
Clear for takeoff. Let's do it.
Stabilized. Cross set.
80 knots.
Okay, and there you have it. Let's get back here.
Flaps 1. Flaps up. 1000 level off.
All right. Let's see. I don't see any speed restrictions, so we're going to go ahead, kick up a little. Oh, wow. That's 30. That's almost 40 miles unless ATC starts there. Again, it's extremely busy territory. So the thought would be ATC's going to hold them because you've also got Gatwick and Stansted all working through here in Luton. And it's a lot going on right here. Think of New York City, except much bigger area covered. All right, I'm going to go ahead, take us on up. Okay, one last check.
After takeoff checklist.
Gear lever. Off. Landing and logo lights. Off. Ignition.
Check.
Seat belts and no smoking sign.
Check.
Pack valves. Open. Fuel heat. Auto. After takeoff checklist completed.
And that's all she wrote. All right, we're crossing over DEET right now. Detling, VOR. And we're en route to Frankfurt. I hope you enjoyed that rather lengthy ground time. That's a lot. It's, you know, as alluded to. Um, by Arson 1 that it takes a little bit to get this plane going. Don't think you're just going to jump in unless you just jump in, engines running. I'd still check to make sure the plane is configured correctly and then blast off and go. It's not that simple. And I love airplanes like this where you got to work through it. And remember another big thing about this plane? In its day in the airlines, 3 people were required to be on board in the cockpit. Your captain, your first officer, and your flight engineer. The flight engineer did the most work. He kept the fuel balance, set the pressurization back there, kept literally the people comfortable running this big board. Um, and leaving, navigating, and hoping that we get to the right airport to the 2 up front. And sometimes, you know, I make light of that, but it didn't happen often, but yet it did, where they ended up at, you know, off course. And it just takes one digit entered incorrectly. That's why you usually had one guy entering, one guy reading, tossing it and verifying, tossing it, verifying. And yeah, it's quite a system, let alone getting it aligned. That's a 15, 20-minute process in of itself before the route can be played into it. So that's why, you know, many of these flights, the 747-200, while it took a long time to put all the fuel in it, well, that's a good time to be getting the INS up and ready to go. And then you had to do en route updating in flight as well to keep. I mean, it's a working man's plane. The flight engineer is just you know, doing a lot, but so are the 2 up front. I mean, you get on those long over, you know, North Atlantic or Pacific track crossings, and you got to figure out where can we start updating, because it does start drifting. And then once you get into contact with a vortac, I think some ADFs were good too. It would start updating and bringing that drift back on course. So, yeah, it's An interesting animal, let's put it that way. Enough that it made me forget I got things to do as well, like... All right, and we're up and going through 24,000 for 37,000. We may not be at 37 very long. Matter of fact, we're going to do some arithmetic here in a minute. And I can just hear you going, we got to do arithmetic on these planes? Come on, I was in high school all day. I don't want to do more math. Welcome to the real world. Or as my daughters like to say, and I'm sure many of you have heard it, adulting. Although not 100% adulting, because if you screw up here, you don't hurt anybody. The guys in the real planes screw up, and they could hurt people. So, all right. So we need to be at 21,000 at IMCOM. That's going to be, there's my calculator. So about 50 miles from IMCOM. Not really sure where that's going to be. Poor dog. All right, back with you. We're through flight level 300. Our Mach is starting to get close to 0.85. So we'll kind of keep an eyeball on it. You know, I kind of lost track where they're departing from. I know it always seems Frankfurt, London, and Amsterdam were on the list. I don't think they were this time around, but I'll have to see if I can. I got their Discord channel. One of these years I may be able to, but right now it is just too chaotic to even. Um, I would love to just kind of listen in, but that just hurts the performance of VATSIM even more when people do that. So, all right, let me get set up here. All right. Reason I brought it up there so you all can see. First thing I'm gonna do, keep an eyeball on my airspeed, and then I'm gonna put it in a mock airspeed climb, meaning instead of the speed, indicated speed in knots, now we'll be on our mock indication for our climb. And so as soon as we hit 0.85, now instead of the needle being what drives the nose level up or down, it'll be the Mach number, 0.85 in this case. And then eventually we'll switch into actually Mach hold, where whatever 0.85 is will hold our airspeed there. A traditional auto throttle, not unlike the FJ S727, where you, the pilot, control it. Okay, we'll come back to that. Let's get back out and enjoy. Well, wait a minute. Do not want to lose sight. Make sure that you see in amber altitude select and the green light. If you don't, click it now, or you're going to blow right through 37,000. Same thing. If you don't go into Mach hold before you level off, it will speed up. All right, we're 1,000 away. I'll stay in the cockpit here. Now, you can play with the EPRs and all down here, or I prefer, you know, to do what the real pilots never could. Put it right there. Okay, altitude select is now on, but your alert is within 500 feet. And there you go. See how she still sped up? Now she'll slow back down. And hopefully won't make a liar out of me. Here it comes. It'll just take a little bit to get itself in order. And at the same time, All right, let's do some figuring out here now. I think we're going to start down at SPY, and I think yeah, that will be very close. Yeah, very close indeed. All right, so yeah, it's at SPY. Okay, I'll put that away. All right, let's go back, check everything. All right, on these short flights, numbers are going to scare you. Just going to tell you right now, they're going to scare you. Look at these numbers and you're going, oh my gosh, we're almost out of fuel. Realize I have reserve fuel to release. We actually are doing really well. Now, this is what an INS looks like. Right here, dead center. You can move. It still functions. Lets me know where I am. Don't have waypoints. Don't have times. But it can tell me the wind. And so forth. And then it was this number that kept, I forget what the code was. And that's what kept not clearing to allow it to align. And we did so much. I'm shocked I didn't need a new computer after all of it. Probably that might be why eventually I would. But anyway, I just gave up on it. And I don't want to go through that again. Not to say any of what Felis or any of them are doing would cause that. I don't know. I'm not going to find out. It was just, oh my gosh, just too much stress in a time when I needed just to fly to release stress. So, and that's why I don't DCS. I mean, it could be flawless right now for me, but you know what? I don't want to take the chance of the problem I had in the past interrupting that relaxation that I was seeking. So, you're stuck with me on X-Plane. And I'm not going back to the other, sorry. So, gives you an idea what we got ahead of us. Yeah, we're about 20 minutes. It's only 500 miles, literally, between the two. And yeah, we'll be there pretty quick. Let me pull up what SPY is on here. Here we go, 13.1. And that just gives me a DME to it. Okay. And that's where we're going to start our top of descent. And for those late to the program, fill you in a little bit. All right, so we're headed to, as you know, Frankfurter. All right, so here is SPY. Here's where we are right now. So we still got a little ways to go, as the gauge says, 53.5 miles to go. And then from there, we're going to descend to the IMCOM fix. We need to be between 24 and 21,000. So we're going to shoot for 21. But if we end up a little high, we're good. The next will be 11,000. So we're flying the IMCOM 1 Delta. And then here's the route. We'll do the racetrack out to the initial 444. Come around for the initial. We're coming in 7 right. And that'll be DF654 for our initial. Currently, yes, VATSIM is crazy right now in Frankfurt. Oh, of course, I pick a great day to think about flying VATSIM. It's Frankfurt Friday. And just to give you how crazy it is there without bringing it up there, actually, I will. Hang on. Punch that in that way. Punch that up on. I actually may need to get rid of the chart. Yeah. Okay. That's how crazy it is right now. What was that? Well, Anusik, thank you so much for the 50 bits. I heard this weird tone. It kind of scared me because our air conditioner kicked off right at the same point. I'm like, what happened? But thank you, sir. Welcome aboard. We appreciate you. Oh, man. Anyway, but yeah, that gives you an idea of a little bit of what's going on in Frankfurt. Just a little bit of traffic. I'll give you a little bit of news here in a little bit. Give me a second. I'm going to clear that off, make it a little easier to see. All right, so again, we'll fly the racetrack to 444, 11,000 to 431. Then we're coming in on 7 right, which is going to be the furthest south parallel. Okay. So we'll come in at 654 for our initial on the localizer, and we'll begin slowing the plane up. All of that good fun jazz to get her on the ground. And over here, I brought up the arrival information. ILS Yankee for 7 left on VATSIMs alive. If you are so daring, love traffic, here you go. 7 right ILS approach also in use. Departing 1-4 and 7 center is my suspicion. Not 1-4, 1-8. And they will really, really try to say, go to 1-8. So anyway, transition level 6,000. That's a big thing for us here in the U.S. Always look if they have an ATIS out there, get that so you know when to switch your altimeters. Okay, but anyway, coming in on the ILS, here's our frequencies. We'll need to make sure we're set for 110.95. VOR 1 at a minimum, VOR 2 if we plan Cat 2 or higher. Final approach course, we'll dial in 66 degrees. At 660, where are you? Here you are. You're at approximately 11 miles from the runway, 11.5 miles. You need to be at 4,000 feet, which is actually 3,670 feet above the ground. Decision altitude here, 527 MSL or 200 feet above the ground. And should the missed approach get called, we fly out and kind of hook our way around out here to FKS VOR and hold. 5,000 feet, 250, no faster. Descent profile looks like this. we'll have a full load of approach lights, ALSIF 2s, reel on the left side. I'm sorry, PAPI on the left side, reels, and there's your missed approach. And your minimums required. 200 feet above the 200 foot broken overcast, and at least 550 meters visibility. So that's what we're planning. Oh, that's the same chart. This is the one I want. We're aiming, and we shouldn't have any trouble since we're the only person in the sky right now, for this little, probably on the east side of this outcropping of gates. Sound fun? Because it's going to be. By the way, we're just about top of descent, so let's clear it off. All right. Now, technically, when you get into climb or cruise, you should set up for two things. Two things I didn't do right. Let's go to cruise and come back up. And this should have been set to altitude hold. All right, now we're about to cross SPY, so I am going to set our altitude to 21,000. And we're going to start a descent. It does that if you're set at altitude select. You should be on altitude hold when you hit your objected altitude. And then move it down, and that way you can control it. Go to VS. Gonna set us up for about 2,000 or so. Of course, verify with the needle. A little more. Get us about 2,300 feet a minute. We're starting down. And I am going to do about a 300. Fortunately, we don't have a descent side to it. TOD, by the way, is not top of descent. We'll talk about that in a second. Hang on. A little further. Okay, now I'm going to switch us into indicated speed. So now the ring here of speeds will control our descent off this speed indication. Make sure it says speed. We're good for now. Now I'm going to head over here and dump our fuel. And what that means is our reserve tanks are going to go into number 1 and number 4. Bringing those up very close to, but hopefully still below, the 9,200 level here. So that way less fuel is out away from the route than closer to away from the fuselage on the wing. Little confusing, I know, but and then we'll start bleeding off, dumping the pressurization the lower we get. All right, let's check things up front. Weather looks just outstanding. Nothing on the radar. We're way out from deep. Okay. The other thing I noticed on this arrival, again, no speeds. At 11,000, we're going to slow to at least 245. Okay, now we are very close. So I think since I don't have any VORs we're working on immediately, 110.95. We're looking at 66. Okay, obviously it's not showing up. Let's pull in Fred. The VOR on the, it could be a TACAN. I'm not, this used to actually also house Rhine-Main Air Base. $15.9. Again, I don't expect it to pull in yet, but keep going. Now, oh, sorry, cough there. The radio INS switch, you could throw that with the FMC. All it's going to do is point to where your fix is. That's why in this aircraft, it's not a big deal. In the 727, you have to flip it into GPS. It does. You're not going to be able to do like we're doing, setting things up and monitoring easily. However, if you're in INS with the SIVAs, I believe it does have to be down. Okay, are we at IMCOM? Yes. Just above the altitude. I'm going to go ahead now and set 11,000. Okay, it looks like about 2,300 feet a minute. So we were a little shy, and that's not bad. We're going to make 22 to 17 at the next one. I'm going to actually slow us to 280. Always make sure altitude select is lit and showing. If you don't, it will go through, and came close to putting her into ground in San Francisco because I had missed that. A lot of things went wrong, uh, but that no excuse. I should have been paying attention. It's what you get when you don't have that second crew member, or in this case, all three. Oh, and then that extra information about Frankfurt. Currently, 15 people have arrived. Doesn't mean how many are en route. They have arrived. 28 waiting to get out, and a whole bunch inbound from all directions. Welcome to VATSIM Frankfurt Friday. Probably one of the busier events in VATSIM. Excuse me, man. Body's just falling apart here lately. Put me back to work and I'm falling apart. All right, I'm going to go ahead and start slowing this thing up. All right, now let's start bleeding off pressure. Okay. All right, let's get our descent, our landing information, landing. Okay, we're landing on a 13,100 foot runway. 360 feet. And currently 11. All right, so we'll use medium brakes, 5,700 feet of the runway from where we land. Oh, we got into some clouds. How about that?
Cabin crew, prepare for landing. Thousand to level off.
All right, we're going to go ahead and get this thing slowed. Go to 200 feet on our radar altimeter.
Cabin ready.
All right, let's start descending to 5,000. Let's make it 6. Again, we don't have any guidance on altitudes at this point, other than 4,000. My guess is at or above 4,000 at DF654.
Ladies and gentlemen, the captain has turned off the gas tank
Oh, I'm glad I did what I did. That gives us a bit of a buffer. All right, so we can get the speed brakes retracted now.
Approach checklist, please.
Seatbelts and shoulder harness.
Check.
Seatbelts and no smoking signs.
On.
Anti-ice.
Off.
Exterior lights.
Check.
Outer brakes.
Medium.
Radio INS switches.
Radio.
Flight director computer selectors.
Check.
Brake pressure.
Check.
Altimeters.
1013. Set and cross check.
Landing data, EPR and airspeed bugs.
set and cross-check.
Seat belts and shoulder harness. Check. Fuel panel. Check. Fuel heat. This. Off. EPR computer. Go around. Cabin altitude. Check. Circuit breakers. Check. Approach checklist completed.
Okay, that's going to leave us with the simple one. Okay, everything's set. And I'm going to just keep us right here and start our descent when we start our turn, which I need to make sure is going to happen. Okay, it should. Interesting weather for 120 as of 30 minutes ago. 120 at 3, KVOC 11 degrees, 8 degrees. Yeah, no significant. Oh, man. That's a shame pilots don't have to rely on that. Oh, boy. Okay, 110.95, 66 degrees. And Fred. Fred's 28 miles out. By the way, there it happened if you didn't know.
Localizer alive.
So that's what you've always got to watch, is that it doesn't click off. It did in our case, and we were able to get back on track. As we slow, we'll put in flaps 1.
Flaps 1.
Let's see, 660, we should be at 4,000 feet. So, well, we'll kind of see what's going on with the weather here. We're about 25 miles, 24 miles now out.
Flaps 5.
Okay.
Flaps 10.
Wow, what a METAR. Oh, a new one came out. Hang on. Scattered to 4,300. Okay, at least they're now reporting there are clouds. All right, we are. Oh, excuse me. Let's see this one more time. $133, so we'll come in at 143. And okay. We got a new altimeter, by the way. Yes. All right, let's slow up to 160 and get ready to bring the gear down at 10 miles.
Flaps 20.
All right, glide slope has us.
Gear down. Gears down, green light. Flaps 25. Flaps 30. Landing checklist.
Gear.
Down and check.
Down and check. Flaps.
Flaps 30.
Flaps 30. Spoilers.
Armed.
Ignition.
Flight start.
Anti-skid.
Check.
Altimeters. 1, 0, 2, 0. Set and cross-checked. Landing checklist completed.
Think I got the runway in sight. All right, we're cleared to land. Hope you all enjoyed the flight. Been a fun one. Frankfurt Friday. No, we're not going to play. No, no, no. Not with, real quick check. Actually, it's not too bad. 20 on the ground that were inbound, 17 outbound. Not as bad as when we checked it a few minutes ago. Still bad enough. It's very busy. It's, like I said, one of the busiest they have out there. All right, I think it's time to take over. Okay, Roger, cleared to land, 7 right, Clipper 98 heavy. Landing.
Don't sink.
Well, I have to sink to land.
Approaching minimums.
Landing.
Minimums. $50, $40, $30, $20, $10. Check reverse.
It was a floater.
Auto brake off. 60 knots. Out, off, reverse.
And we're off at Mike 15.
Flaps up.
All right, folks, let's just get ourselves over to the gate. I'm just kind of walking through this radar flap spoilers, 7 units. That's what I thought. Roger, cleared cross 7 center, Clipper 98 heavy. All right. I think we've done everything. 7. Let me just double check. It'll tell us. Oh, I got one, I know.
After landing checklist.
Brake pressure.
Check.
Body gear steering.
Arm.
Auto brakes.
Damn. Off.
Ignition.
Off.
Engine and wing anti-ice.
Off.
Radar and transponder.
Standby.
Flaps.
Up.
Spoilers.
Down.
Stabilizer trim.
7 units.
Outflow valves. Open. Pressurization mode selector. Manual. Aft cargo heat. Off. APU. Check. Checklist completed.
locks on.
Shocks are on.
Okay, we're on the ground here. Let's
Hit
connect.
to ground. Connect ground power.
Ground power connected.
All right, secure cockpit checklist.
Brakes. Parked. Beacon lights.
Off.
INS.
Align.
Probe and window heat.
Damn. Off.
Back valves. Check. Fuel boost pumps. This. Off. Reserve tank valves. Closed. Hydraulic panel. Check. Oxygen. Check. Flight recorder. Off.
Emergency lights.
Off.
Radar.
Off.
INS. Off. Radio switches. Let's see.
Checklist completed.
All right, welcome to Frankfurt as we finish things up. Oh, both came out to this one too. I did not know Frankfurt was one of those. Cool. Oh, I'm glad I looked because then we can go 1, 2. Buckle my shoe. Let's see, did they line up any better? Probably not. Hey, that is great. We are offloading. According to our ACAR system, we did a 146 foot per minute landing. Wow, we'll take it. And we got 45 points for it. Gonna take a look at it a little deeper. Engine's warmed up at least 5 minutes. Okay. And yeah, things look really good on it. 146 feet a minute. Nice landing. We'll take it any time. Yeah, that was fun. All right. Well, right now, I don't think I have time for another flight. However, let's take a look at this via Sim Toolkit. At the time, Elevatech, which I believe, and please someone out there correct me, has gone into beta. and was currently down when we started. They were doing some stuff in the backside of it or whatever, and we weren't able to use it for the flight. That's cool. I'm not overly concerned. Oops, I hit the wrong switch. Sorry. So I'm not too overly concerned because we do have a great program, Sim Toolkit, in tracking us as well. Matter of fact, I think sometimes they do a better job. Only because for me, I like to get into the weeds on what did I do on the landing, number wise, where on the runway, how far did we float, as we did in this case. So, well, let's take a look. I can already tell they got us at 383 feet a minute. So I have a feeling there was a bit of a bounce. How much of, I didn't see it in the ACARS log, but looks like there may have been. Okay, so here we are from London. Here's that racetrack we flew to get in here, and or S-track, however you want to call it. And then the details you get from most of them go like this: an hour and a half in the flight, 350 miles, and 15,400 kilograms of fuel. Landed at 1.2 Gs, not bad. Not enough to spill the Queen's coffee. Minus 383 feet a minute. The airline got us at half that rate, 146. So it's hard to tell. But, they're good landings. 130 knots, that's good too. Let's take it the next step. And this is the step I really enjoy. Where did we touch down? We were right on course for right on the numbers. Either I chopped the power too early or somehow got us nose up a little too high. We ended up floating because we would have nailed it real close to the big marks you see here. That's where visually you try to aim your aircraft to land. Of course, you're following your instrument gauges on an instrument landing, your either ILS or whatever you're tracking. But once you commit the visual, be it decision altitude or higher, that's your game plan, is those marks. Now, the PAPIs and the ILS are all set up to also put you down at about that. Gives you a lot of the runway. Remember, this was a 13,100-foot runway. So to float, I hate to break it to you, is not all that disheartening. But we landed 1,600 feet down the runway. Not bad, actually. And they've got us, oh yeah, on 17 center. So we're 1,700 feet right of the center line. Here it looks like just about square on. In a 747, once that nose comes up, now 13,000 feet you can still see. You get into some of the shorter ones, you get that nose up a little, you're still relying on instruments to touch down. So, yeah, that's cool. Concorde, you definitely are. You got a pretty high nose up angle for landing the nose, even with the nose drooped. You're watching the flight director. So, good landing overall. Numbers all look good. Pitch up 1 degree or down. Ooh, we may have touched. It's hard to always say in a 7.4. We were correcting for that crosswind, and everything else looked beautiful. One thing I do want to look at this new terminal down here. Not sure who, what, where is going in here, if this is all Lufthansa or somebody else or what. But yeah, that actually is the old site of Rhine-Main Air Base. This whole ramp here, and might have went a little further. But anyway, yeah, that was what Ramstein is today. So just amazing changes continue here at Frankfurt as they pull out of that multi-use airport to strictly civilian. So pretty cool. All right. I hope y'all enjoyed. I sure did. I don't know when the next stream will be. I may find some time tonight. I'm thinking maybe not. Gonna try to work tomorrow. Finish up what I was working on yesterday before it just really, boy, it's really paying on me today. But I got to get some stuff done at work. So we will try, well, we will be back up Monday and Friday for sure. Those will be our 2 big days for streaming. If I can keep my schedule as I would like it to be. Actually, I would like, well, we'll see. A lot I'd like, but you know, obviously the company has to get what they need out of me too. So I get all of that. So, but anyway, hey, thank you all for flying with Mike today. Yeah, we're kind of wasting time because we are in a commercial break. Should be out of it here shortly. And I would go online just for the fun of it, but no. No, that's not fair to have one more player come in, one more player to knock a player out. Nah, I'm not going to do it. I don't even know if it still does that or not. But anyway, there you have it, folks. Frankfurt International Airport. Again, thank you for flying with us. As I was telling people while we were in the break, we're going to try our hardest Monday and Friday to stream. Maybe pop one in between in the evening hours, but those are going to be our days we aim for. For those who did not hear Wednesday, I have employment has finally found me, and I can't complain. I'll just say that much right now. I can, because it hurts quite a bit. The work I do, on my feet a lot, and just a lot of physicalness to it. It does hurt, but will, by the grace of God, get through it. So it's a good job, and that's all that matters. It's going to help us pay the bills. And unfortunately, that means flying with Mike streaming really curtails back. So Monday, Fridays for sure. Maybe during the week elsewise in the evening hours, we'll see time-wise. But that's what I'm shooting for. So, all right. And tomorrow we will we probably won't even get to watch much of the Cross the Pond event. Good luck to those of you in Cross the Pond, and still trying to get into Frankfurt tonight. But I hope y'all have fun. Hey, thanks for flying. Thanks for hanging out with me today. Thanks for sticking it out through this dark year. I really appreciate each and every one of you. So y'all have a wonderful night. God bless you all. And thank you, Inuisic. You have a great night. Thanks for the 50 bits. And thank Arson1 for following us. And we'll see you all for sure Monday. Who knows? Maybe before then. We'll see. God bless. See you then.